Hello, everyone. Welcome to Virtual Concert Halls, an independent broadcasting platform for musicians, music managers, music educators, and music lovers. I'm Anna Uspinskaya, and I'll be introducing today's program. Virtual Concert Halls dedicates its channels to streaming live performances, competitions, panel discussions, festivals, and many other forms of musical interactions. We connect musicians with their audiences and with each other. Today's concert was made possible and is proudly presented by Vox Novus, a production company based in New York City, and Virtual Concert Halls, a broadcasting company based in Virginia suburb of Washington, D.C. Today we are presenting the Lehner String Quartet with a program of new works by contemporary living composers. This will be a live performance, which is being broadcast through the internet in real time. Composers from Australia and the US will be joining our program for comments and brief interviews. To our very appreciative audience, please post your comments, questions. We will bring them on screen and we will respond during this program. It's very important for composers and performing musicians alike to feel that there is an audience behind that smoke screen of a camera, that you appreciate our art and what we have to offer, and that you have a connection back with us. The Lehner String Quartet is composed of members of the Kennedy Center Opera House Orchestra, Washington National Opera, and the National Symphony Orchestra. Violinists Natasha Bogacek and Zina Bogacek, violist Philip Chow, and cellist Igor Zubkovsky. Each of the artists are accomplished performers in their own right as soloists, with a long history of performing together as a quartet to bring music to audiences around the world. And now I would like to welcome to our studio Robert Voisey. He is a director of Vox Novus and a producer of Composer's Voice concert series. Rob, please join us. I would like to have you join us on screen. You're muted. Please unmute yourself so we can hear what you say. And please tell us some about this wonderful project.
Hi, Anna. It's great to see you. This is Composer's Voice.
Welcome.
We're featuring the Lehner Quartet. We're really proud to do that. Composer's Voice is, a place to give opportunities for composers to get their works heard by audiences around the world. We started Composer's Voice back in 2001. It's gone through many iterations, and now we're enjoying being live broadcast over the internet. The next piece that you're about to hear is from Miguel Heatwole. We've already presented him actually on our last concert. He's a returning champion. And we're going to play his piece. I believe it's called Incentric, if I get that correct. And why don't we listen to some music? Bravo. Great. Yeah, so that was Incentric by Miguel Heatwole, being performed by the Lehner Quartet. Um, we, yeah, well, hopefully we'll try to get Miguel on later. He's out in Australia, so I know his time zone is different from ours. But Miguel Heatwole began his career as a choral director and musician during the 1990s. As a musical director of Ecopella and the Solidarity Choir, he arranged and composed numerous pieces on environmental and social justice themes. One of the great treats of Composer's Voice is I get to make new composer friends from around the world. Miguel, I'm hoping you'll be one of those. Like I said, he's a returning composer from our last Composer's Voice concert. And later on in the program, you'll hear a composer who and I have been working for a really, really long time. And, you know, these concerts are kind of like almost a homecoming to see new friends again. Meanwhile, talking about blasts from the past and things like that, the next piece is mine. The piece is called Deep Longings, and is a string quartet of mine. It's literally the first string quartet that I ever wrote as a composer when I was studying in Israel. I wrote the first movement that was played by the Rishon Quartet there, and anyway, they liked it, and I got a great performance of it when I was in Israel and so forth. And literally, they were just like, "Well, you need to write more." It was about 5 minutes, and they were like, "More. We need to write more." So I went and wrote a second movement, and a third movement, and a fourth movement, and I've never gotten like a really great recording of it. And so this is my opportunity to get my voice out there, and we're going to be doing the third and fourth movements of Deep Longings. And yeah, I guess the best way. So anyway, this piece is mostly the piece is all about my writing career. So it was kind of interesting to revisit it now. When I wrote it, it was all about starting out as a composer, and now it's anyway. I've been doing my thing for a little while, and so anyway, with that said, let's hear what you all think about my deep longings for my composition career. Thank you. Wow. Well, that was a real treat. Thank you. Oh, bravo, bravo. Thank you, Lehner Quartet. That was just really amazing. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, so I want to bring on the next composer. He's, like I said, a composer I know for a long time now. He joined me with the 60 by 60 project back down in London. Hey, Ben, how are you doing, man?
Hey, hey, so good to see you. So
Good
we're
to see you.
from Germany to Washington to California. That's pretty cool, man. You have half the world covered today.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's the beauty about the internet. We can go a lot farther than just little old New York City.
Cool piece, Rob. Enjoyed
Thank
it
you.
so much.
I
Great
appreciate it.
dirge.
Yeah. Hey, young angst.
Hey, it's the feeling of the time, man.
It's true. And you know what? With that said, why don't you tell us a little bit about your piece as interesting inspiration, if I remember correctly, right?
Sure, yeah. So I teach at California State University, Fresno, and I gave as one of the assignments for my beginning composition seminar class to take a note and articulate it, keep it articulated for as long as you can keep it articulated without people like totally tuning out. And I got that idea because I kind of straddled the world of classical composition and jazz performance. Please Google Benjamin Boone, The Poets Are Gathering, and you'll hear some of the jazz stuff I've been involved with. But I'm a real fan of a Japanese pianist named Hiromi, Hiromi Urahara. I've been following her for years. I think she's absolutely fabulous. And she came out with this piece called Voice several years ago. And in the recorded version, for about like almost a minute, like 45 seconds at least, she's just re-articulating this note. I can't even do it that fast. I know I can't even tongue that fast. But she re-articulates this one note for like a really, really, really long time, and she has all these harmonies that go against it. And so I assigned that to my class. And so I wrote this piece, the one that you're going to hear, as an example of doing the same assignment. It's called hammer down, number one, because it's like down bow. But one of the things, if you listen to Hiromi's solos, is she'll be doing this wonderful thing, and then all of a sudden she'll just go bang, bang, like that, right? Very aggressive. And so you'll hear in the string quartet some interjections like that that are meant to be disruptions.
Well, you know what?
And,
I think we have a clip.
oh, that would be
piano.
so cool. You mean of Hiromi?
Yeah, let's see if we can play that.
Oh, man, always up for hearing some her. That's it. The repeated note for a long time.
That's definitely hammered down, huh?
It's hammered down. The piano hammered down. She's great. So anyone watching this, check out her. There's a great YouTube video of all of her solos on one of her tours. Just amazing, amazing performance. So I tried to write that for string quartet. And so what you'll hear is my trying to take something sort of from the jazz world and writing it for string quartet.
Okay. Well, let's hear it, right?
Yeah, let's get down. Let's hammer down. All right, good. You see my family. We had a family affair watching here, Rob. Say hello, Atticus. Say hello. No, they're bashful now.
Hey, Ben. When we hammer down, you can't break our server.
I know, it hammered down so hard it broke your server, man. It broke it. That was good. That was a good hammer stroke, Quartet. Good job. You broke the server.
Ben, peace rock.
Well, I'm happy. I wanted it to rock, so that's good. Yay!
Thank you, Lehner Quartet. What a wonderful performance from all the pieces. It's really just phenomenal. This is our second concert that we've been doing with that we've featured the Lehner Quartet, and I don't know if I can speak for Ben here, but for all the other composers so far, I keep getting like thumbs up, and so anyway, the proof is in the pudding when it's not thumbs up until you hear your own piece played, and I can just put myself in with everybody else. They're pretty good, huh?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. It's a wonderful thing they're doing. I mean, keeping new music alive during unprecedented times. Rob, you're a composer not only of music, but of just making things happen, man. So that's no small feat, even to pull something like this out, like Win Yao and Micah are saying in the YouTube feed that I see. So so I mean, it's a cool thing that you created and they've created, and so I thank you for keeping new music alive.
Thanks, dude. I'd be nothing without you guys. And so tell us, Ben, what's next? Is there more coming up on this piece, perhaps?
I don't know. I think that the next thing I'm working on is a follow-up to my Poets Are Gathering album that came out in October that has tons of like Pulitzer Prize winning, Guggenheim, MacArthur like poets on it. So I'll probably be working on getting another iteration of that out. Then those address social issues that are facing the country. So I'll probably be doing that, and I'm not quite sure. What's next. More teaching, more trying to make things better in the world.
I hear you. You know what? And with that, you're plugging your album. I should be plugging one of mine. Believe it or not, before the pandemic, I did this Carnegie gig, featuring Matthew McWright. He got his premiere at Carnegie Hall, and it was a composer's voice concert. We were featuring 8 other composers.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was fun. I actually have one of my pieces on that one as well. And anyway, we did the gig, and we figured since we're doing all this work for Carnegie, we should record it, right? I mean, we recorded it at another hall, but and so that album is finally coming out May 1st. So yeah,
that's wonderful. I remember I had a saxophone quartet actually did a piece of mine at Carnegie Hall, and I showed up for a rehearsal and no one was there. I walked in the backstage door and I was sitting there calling for everyone. Hey, where is everyone? And then I thought, you idiot, you're on Carnegie Hall stage by your frickin' self. And I happened to have my saxophone with me because I was doing a jazz gig. So I pulled out my horn and I played. I got like 5 minutes alone on Carnegie Hall stage. 5 minutes alone.
It's kind of special, right?
It's like you send out your vibrations, and then the gods of Carnegie Hall like do their magic on them, right? They do their whatever it is their magic is, and then they send it back and they wrap it around you, and it's like a warm blanket, and they make whatever you do sound good. So I was actually pissed when the saxophone quartet showed up because I was like having this euphoric, mystical experience. So
speaking of quartets showing up, we still have Lehner Quartet online here.
Oh, good.
So let's bring them in for some proper thank yous. Here they are.
Hey! Hi, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, you guys make our pieces sound good.
Thank you.
Really love it.
Wonderful groove. Thank you. Sounded great. So any suggestions? One of the reason I wanted this to be done here is for the ending. So if they have any suggestions, if they're still listening, any suggestions on improving the ending, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I think they're cutting out, but yeah, we'll definitely follow up with that. I think that's well, you know what, Ben, let me talk to you about like logistics a little bit so people get a more understanding of what we're doing. So we put out a call for people to participate with the Lehner Quartet, and the idea was, we get a bunch of scores and then they review them, which ones they sort of want to work on and stuff. And then we do, a rehearsal online. They do a little bit of a reading beforehand, and then the composer gets to join in. What'd you think about that? Like the process and how it went? And
yeah, I thought that went really, really well, and I think it's a good way, particularly in this time. Even though things are opening up, it's not like things are back to normal, right? So it's a really great way of hearing something, done by professional musicians and, kind of gauging, your composition. I know that one of the reasons it appealed to me is that I wrote this piece a while back. I wrote it for the Verdi Quartet in Germany, but I wasn't happy with the ending. And so one of the reasons that I wanted to apply was so that I could try a new ending and see if that ending made it better. And so, through the process, I'm not 100% happy with what I ended up doing, but they had some really good suggestions and feedback. So I think it's a really creative way of assimilating what might happen in real life.
Right. And, it's funny, we were talking about Carnegie before, and I think people like the whole process is kind of like obscured with a different idea of what it's like. But when you have a big gig like at Carnegie and so forth, and you have the rehearsal beforehand, there's no changes. There's no, every once in a while, the composer's like, oh, can I hear it and be in part of the rehearsal? And for our gig, when we were doing it, I was just like, there's no point. It's done. It's solid. We worked on it. We did the recording and so forth and everything. Now at this point in juncture is like whatever's going is going. You know what I mean? There's no, so, that's why I wanted to be a little bit different where, you could get feedback and you see what's going on. The quartet gets an idea of what you want, right? Because anyway,
No, what you're saying is true. Is that what composers, you can put something on MIDI and hear a playback, and if that's what your final product is, fine and good, right? You can manipulate it and make it sound however you want, but that's not the reality of a live acoustic musician playing your piece. And so, the gold for any composer of acoustic music or electroacoustic music or whatever is to be able to collaborate with the performer and get as much feedback as they can and tweak things and to make it better. Sort of like in the theater world where you workshop, you get notes, you make changes, you come back the next day, you get changes. Right. So that is so impossible right now, right? So any degree of that is a real positive. And the more of that takes place, the more the composer learns, the more the composer grows. And, that's like the cool part of being a composer. You spend that time, in your room or with the piano or with the computer or whatever, and then interacting with a live performer is for me, I learn as much or more from that than I would if I consulted with my fellow composers or whatever, right? It's like, that's where the learning and the growth and the enlightenment sort of takes place, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I guess, I was talking a little bit about the string quartet was like one of the first I wrote. And that's kind of how I started composition was our teacher would be like, a string quartet's coming tomorrow, write a piece. And that was, we did, that's it. We had to scribble and do everything we can. And we got them meet the string quartet and they would go over our piece, shred it, just, you can't do this, you can do this, blah, 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 and so forth and everything. Play it. And then, what would you do? You'd go home and you fix it. Okay, I would write a new piece, but, whatever. And then you come back. It's such a, anyway, I feel like that's the way for sort of composers to grow and learn, learn from your own mistakes and non-mistakes, right? There's these happy accidents and all sorts of things that happen.
It's absolutely the best way to learn. I know, I had some workshops with the Kronos Quartet and others that I sponsored here, and that was the whole thing, where it's like composers got multiple opportunities to hear their stuff, get feedback, go back in their room, make changes, hear what the difference between the original and the changes, and that's like something 100 years ago or whatever. If you were in a court or something and you had an orchestra, I mean, you got to play around as much as you wanted to.
right.
And today that is just so hard. And it's like, if you get an orchestral performance, maybe they bring you in like the day before the performance or something. And then it's like whatever feedback you give or whatever you'd like, or you hear something and you go, oh, holy crap, I wish I'd done this a different way. I wish I had a chance to change it. And like you said, it's way too late. Can't do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's it. They're learning all their parts. I mean, the orchestra thing is a perfect example. They are on a tight time schedule. They've got their time to learn things. Yeah, and you can't make changes. They've already learned it. That's it.
They've already learned it to however well they're going to be able to do it. And I'm not ragging on that at all, because I mean, God bless the orchestras that still are able to function and have a budget and able to even rehearse and all of that kind of stuff. It's just the reality, right? So right. It's how can composers grow and have an experience that someone maybe 50 years ago would have had, but have it in 2021, right? That's why things like this fill that gap and help people grow and learn and all of that.
Do the best we can, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's I'm not into Zen stuff, but it sounds pretty Zen to like accept whatever situation you're given and like make the best of it, right?
Right. I totally agree. Well, meanwhile, I think I want to thank everybody for coming in, and I usually anyway, we're just jamming on and talking. If anybody has any questions to me or Ben, you can. Just looking at our
I could talk all day
section.
to you. But check out Rob's latest album. Check out the former Vox Novus 60 by 60 albums. Those are really, really cool. Check out the 15 Minutes of Fame. If you just Google 15 Minutes of Fame Vox Novus, you'll see these cool concerts that Rob is making happen that feature some new music as well as some other music. That, check it out. It's cool stuff.
And definitely check out all of Ben's stuff. He does a lot of crossover stuff, a lot of great jazz, a lot of great everything.
Oh, well, you're kind. I'll take it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. And, we look forward to seeing you on the next time that we're streaming with Composer's Voice. And thank you, Virtual Concert Halls, for hosting us. We couldn't do it without you.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Greatly appreciate it.